All right, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jeremy, and today I'm joined by a very special someone who's been absolutely crushing it. So we're hopping on today to just kind of take a bit of a snapshot on her transformation and her growth so far. So Brea, welcome to the channel. It's an honor to have you. It's such a pleasure, and it's been such a blast working with you so far. So yeah, do you mind just giving a quick little background? Who are you? What do you do? And what have you been able to do so far?
Of course, yes. So my name is Brea. I am 22. I am a faith-based anxiety coach, and I help Christian women make the transformation out of anxiety and into relationship with God and more depth with God. I joined you a few months ago at like the craziest, lowest, most shiny object syndrome month of my life. I made like 3K the whole month, and that was like a stretch for me still. Um, and the last month we just wrapped up at 17K. So it has been a crazy transformation of being led by an incredible leader, being able to see that and duplicate that and emulate that in my own space as well. Um, but being able to just learn what I need to learn, focus on inputs, I'm kind of like a kite. I think most entrepreneurs are. And so always having you guys to come pull me back to center has been so essential. But yeah, I didn't even know what that is. Is that like what, 5x the business or something like that?
Yeah,
So
wow.
yeah.
Crazy. That's awesome. Well, let's dive right in. So you mentioned there about leadership and kind of just seeing what that looks like. What's been something that's been very like insightful when it comes to leadership that you've learned over the last few months?
It's leading by example and leading by design. I think a lot of times we'll kind of hope that things work out the way that we want and not even know like what standard we're trying to aim for or model in as business owners and leaders in terms of as bosses, but also as just coaches. So it has been amazing just to see like the standard that you hold all of us to, which just calls us
Mm.
higher and forces us to just answer the call and just become like meet the standard or like get left behind. And so that has been just so essential, learning like you can't hope and pray and cross your fingers that things are going to like work out. You have to be intentional about the way that you design your business as a boss and then your business as a coach and someone who is pouring into other people in that way as well.
Wow, that's really insightful and very valuable there too. And I know a lot of people kind of just like, yeah, like you said, just kind of cross their fingers and hope for the best.
Mm.
And a lot of times when we do that, it doesn't work out very well. And then we're forced to actually clean up and go back and roll up our sleeves, get our hands dirty a little bit, right? And whatnot. But another thing you mentioned there was about standards. What is that like? How is your definition or just your perspective on standards change over the last few months?
Oh my gosh, they have changed so much. I think with not having any background in business, I was never a coach before this. Like I started this from the ground up this year, and you kind of just adopt and kind of sponge absorb like whatever you're around. And I'm really grateful that this was like in the beginning of my business journey and not after like crap hit the fan several times. Um, it has been just so um, essential to my growth, having such high standards set and being able to be around that because the Bible says like bad company corrupts good morals. And it's just so true. Like the people you're around are the people that you become. And everyone here in Summit is like an absolute killer. Like everyone's on their P's and Q's. Everyone's always growing. Everyone takes accountability. We celebrate our wins. We celebrate each other. There's none of this like competitive, like, breaking down of people or like it's just like wow, like everyone's doing so amazing. Like how can we learn from them? Everyone's so willing to help and pour into other people. So that has just been so amazing to be a part of.
That's incredible. That's awesome. So kind of rewinded a few months ago. You're doing 3K a month with the offer. Where was it kind of in that stage? What did it look like? How are you delivering it? And then also like, how's that changed over the last few months?
Oh my goodness, it's night and day. Like, I used to, first of all, have like no sort of predictability. It was kind of just like this month, like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do it? Probably should make some content. I don't know if I make new ads. What kind of ads do I make? Like, how do I? And it's kind of just like like a pinball machine. And I was like, hey, let me throw some things at the wall and see what stick. And like, that is no way to scale predictably, build a business, have a business at all. And now it's so much. First of all, I have just way more confidence in myself because I've taken the time to build something great. I've been able to learn as a student from you how to take that back to my own offer and apply that to my own students as well. I have had literally since I started like 100% success rate. I've been more intentional about the people that I bring in, the people that I work with, which has allowed me not to bring in bad quality people that just lower the standard of who we have on the inside, which makes you more
Mm.
stressed. Now you're having chargebacks, now you're having refund stuff like that because you're just trying to you're fast for money. And so like the whole mindset of just like focusing on inputs, outputs take care of themselves, so like transformational, of really putting in the work behind your own business, of making sure things are built on a good foundation. Like, all fast money and all money is not good money. Like, making sure that you're building something sustainable with integrity, with morals and values, and making sure you're holding yourself within those boundaries and within those standards so that you don't like get crushed by the fire of when when things really get tough. Um and so I have so much more structure. I've systematized everything in my business. Before it was kind of just like, why am I doing better this week? And why am I not doing better this week? And like, as my emotions fluctuated, so would the success of my business, which is really bad. So now
Yeah.
I have my setting process, which is dialed in and it's systematized. And it's just like, hey, if I make sure I'm doing these inputs, I know that I'm going to be able to see those outputs predictably on the other side.
That's awesome. And that's a really, really important component as well, because as entrepreneurs, our emotions are always all over the place. One week we're having the time of our lives, and the next week we're wondering if we should shut everything down and do something else. So when you, like you said, when you have things dialed in and systemized, then it gives you that consistency and that predictability that you're looking for, and that every single one of us craves so much. So on the appointment setting side specifically, like what exactly was there anything specific that changed from how you were setting before versus now? What does that look like?
Yes. So what changed is that I took the best of what was working and then just repeated it instead of, oh, maybe I should try this week and maybe I should try that. Oh, maybe I should shade like this. And it's like you're always trying something new and never actually sticking with the stuff that works. I don't know why we always do that as entrepreneurs. But you guys helped me to literally come up with like a system and a flow and a framework that I follow. And it's like it is no longer about, okay, well, what happens if like they say something like this or like that? It's like this is what I'm looking for out of this process. And it
Mm,
helped me even in the sales process as well. It's like you hold a frame and you're not just asking questions for kicks and giggles. Like, you're looking for something when you're asking these questions, and you know what you're looking for. And so with the system, like, it's like, okay, well, if they didn't get there where we're looking for, then we're able to now ask the supplement, like the if then, right? Like a
mm,
workflow. So if they don't hit that, then we say, okay, well, let me dig deeper and let me ask these other questions, these supplemental things to get to where I want to see if I can get them to that place that I need. So I know they will be a good fit going forward. So it's just like we ask the questions the same way every time. We look for the same answers. They have to hit like these certain points, and then we're able to fill up our calendar every
love
week.
that. Love that. Did you have any experience with ads before?
Yes and no. Like, I was running things, but I wasn't running them well.
Fair. Okay. Okay. So, when it comes to the ad specifically, like, what was it that unlocked the 3K to 17K growth?
Ah, it was it was going back to systematizing it. I was always like, I was always looking at the gap of, okay, these people are doing 100K, these people are doing 50K, these people are doing whatever. Let me try and copy what they're doing instead of saying, hey, this is my niche, this is my business, this is my offer. Let me figure out what's working for me and the clients who do have success with me. Let's figure out that and then let's repeat that. Let's add more into
Mm.
that ad. Let's spend more here instead of just like, let me run 50 ads at $15 a day and like hopefully one of them works for me.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And you've probably noticed too, like sometimes the ads can also be like the easy part.
Yeah.
And it comes down to the appointment setting and the sales, like those skill sets. And I know before we started recording here, you were mentioning that like really leaning into learning and mastering sales was a huge unlock for you. Do you mind just kind of talking a little bit about that and what that process was like?
Yeah, 100%. So like just like you said, usually people are like, if I just had, more leads, and like that's not always the problem. If you had like 100 leads, but 1,000 leads, 1,000,000 leads, but your close percentage is 3%, like it doesn't matter if you're getting more. There's like so much that's falling through the cracks. So with leaning into like systems and structure and standards of things, I was able to. I had to look myself in the mirror and be like, okay, you're wanting to offboard setting and sales because it's hard and you're not great at it. And so instead of like facing that and just getting better, you're trying to solve the problem by getting someone who is better than you to do that. But it's again, it's like then you have all that imposter syndrome. It's like you don't know how to lead them because you've never made that transformation, you never walked that path.
Mm.
And so I realized I was like, okay, if my closing percentage is 13%, is it really a leads problem or is it a me problem with sales? I was like, I started asking questions. I started actually reviewing my sales calls because it was an ego thing. And I was like, I don't want to look at myself like doing a bad job, super hard pill to swallow. And I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? Like, let me just bite the bullet. Let me start watching more trainings. Let me keep like rewatching trainings. Let me show up to calls, asking questions, trying things, really trying to systemize things and not just like, again, throw things at the wall every sales call and see what works and doesn't work. And so, my closing percentage, I was checking for the past couple weeks, they're up at like 50, 60%.
Wow. Wow. What a drastic change.
Completely different. Completely different.
Was there any specific thing when it comes to sales that you weren't doing that then you learned, you started applying and then started to see like that big change?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I learned in mastering, well, in my journey of mastering sales is that I again I set the standard. Like in the sales calls, I would kind of show up, try and be people's friends, trying to kiki ha ha, and like that's not working.
Yeah.
And you wonder why they're not signing up with you or don't trust you to bring them over that line. It's because it's like this felt like a therapy session. This felt like a session with my girlfriend. It doesn't feel like this person is like a leader and has authority and like I can trust them to really hold my feet to the fire, help me make the hard calls on the inside. And so I had to it was something I had to do within myself instead of it wasn't like you're not being yourself. It was like you have to pull the serious side because this is a serious issue. Like these people are dealing with anxiety, like that's literally crippling them. And what you have to do is you have to help them make decisions for themselves and help them align where they want to go with what they say they want and helping them bridge that gap. So it's like it's not a hee hee ha ha type of moment. It's not like a, if they like me enough they'll buy. It's like no, like this is serious and we have to get better at the basics. Like there's no skipping the ABCs.
I love that because a lot of people would probably default to like, oh yeah, there's this like sales tactic that I did that unlocked it. But really what I'm hearing is that it's honestly just like about caring about the person that you're speaking with so much that you have to kind of bring that part out of you and kind of like really just, like you said, help them make the best decision that is going to solve the very painful problem that they have right now that they've probably been dealing with for a long time.
Yes, exactly, 100%, because it's a thing that in your brain of like oh man, I'm selling them, like I'm asking them for a lot of money. It's like this transformation is worth way more than that. And like it's a selling is serving type of mindset.
100%. 100%. How many clients are you working with at the moment right now?
I
How many
currently
is
have
going on?
31 active clients.
Wow.
Yeah, my
That's so
son
awesome.
free.
Crazy. That's crazy. What have you learned about kind of building a community and leading 31 people?
Wow. You are called higher. You have to grow. Like you can't, your current level of self is not gonna be the version of yourself that gets you to your 100K months and your goals and all those types of things. Community is so important. And again, by design, not default. Like you have to set boundaries and honor those boundaries with those clients. Like you can't have people constantly like bringing the group down with like negativity. You can't have them calling you at 3 a.m. Like you can't, for your own sanity and the sanity of them, like you have to empower them to be confident and trust their own intuition and trust themselves and be able to problem solve for themselves and not build a codependent relationship as a coach. Like that has been really damaging.
Mm.
And I did that in the beginning when I first started. It was like, anything you need, anything, like, yep, I don't care if it's 3 a.m. Yep, I don't care if we have 14 coaching calls a week. Like no, like what we're gonna do is you're gonna you're gonna have to learn how to do things the way that work in the way that the community and the program is designed. And if you stick to those things, I'm going to help you get back on your horse. I'm going to help you keep on the straight and narrow. But if you do those things and you stay consistent, you're going to make that transformation. So it is, again, holding yourself to a standard, holding them to a standard, and honoring that and reestablishing that boundary. Because again, if you let it go by default, it's going to be a very big headache. Um, but they show up and they really are bought into you. And like, my clients love me, and I just got a text today, and they're like, "When's your birthday? We wanna do something for you. We wanna send you stuff." And I'm like, "This is so
Aw,
sweet and so awesome that I can even make an impact, on people that way." So, it's been amazing.
wow. That's incredible. It's super cool when like, yeah, when the community really starts to thrive and grow and people feel like they found their home, you know,
Yes, it's
very
been a big, change. I see that people they're relying on me less and on the community more, which is the intention design because that's what we're all here for.
100%. 100%. Oh, that's super cool. Um, when it comes to I guess just running a business. Obviously, lots has changed over the last few months. Like, what's something that you wish you knew sooner?
Something that I wish I knew sooner is like, girl, the faster that you just improve your weakest point, like improve your bottleneck, is as fast as you're gonna be able to grow. So instead of like put your ego aside, like everyone sucks, and you're only gonna suck less by like doing it more, getting better, showing up, asking questions, getting mentors, like and pouring into like that space and leaning into that space of like, and it's no shame that you're not where you want to be. It's just your responsibility to make sure that you get there by doing everything that you need to do. So don't stop showing up in the communities that are going to teach you more. Learn from everyone, always be a student. And like just put your ego aside when you suck at things and be able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, I suck. I'm not that great at this. And the faster that you can do that and make that transformation is as fast as you're gonna be able to grow. So like if I'm ever at a standstill, it's like, okay, what was working, examining that, really paying attention to data, not making emotional decisions of like ping ping pinball, pinging machine type of thing.
Mhm.
Sticking to what works, staying consistent with the inputs, and just like get like fixing your bottlenecks as fast as possible.
That's huge. That's huge. Earlier you talked about kind of like standards and setting the frame and basically like teaching people how to treat you. And it seems like that like stems from the initial sales call where you're setting that standard, you're setting that frame of like, we're here to solve a problem. We're here to, like you said, hold your feet to the fire and help you make that hard decision that you need to make. And then how do you see that kind of transitioning from the sales conversation into the delivery and the client success side of things?
I have seen all the difference in the standard because in the sales call, if you're just like, it's fine that you showed up 15 minutes late, fine that you didn't watch the VSL, great, fine, it's cool, things happen. That's like they're gonna be like walk all over you in the coaching program, and they're not gonna show up. They're not going to be called higher. They're not going to build consistency and do the hard things because you've allowed and enabled that behavior from the jump. So like even now, if people get on sales calls and they haven't watched the VSL or they've rescheduled twice, it's like no, like this is not something that we allow. If you are serious about this, you have to show that with your actions. And like if I asked you to watch the VSL, you haven't watched the VSL, how am I going to be able to trust you to do the work on the inside and make the transformation? Because you're going to get a lot of, oh yeah, I didn't do the court, I didn't watch that yet, I didn't run the ad, and then they're going to be like, I haven't made any progress, I want my money back, or this program sucks, or whatever the case is, and it's just like that is not, it doesn't serve anyone, it doesn't serve them, it doesn't serve you. And like actual love and care for people is like it's the hard conversations. It's the why haven't you made the transformation? You need help. Let's get you the help. Um let's focus on what we need to do. Let's encourage you and help you get back on the horse, but let's also make sure that you're doing what you need to do. There are things that again you can't skip the ABCs. So if you're not doing the ABCs, you're not going to be able to get the transformation that you want on the inside. And so, well, setting that from the beginning has made all the difference with my clients. The respect is there. Like I used to have people asking me like, "How old are you?" on sales calls, and like, "Are you certified?" Like, how do like what did you do to start doing this? And I don't get those questions at all anymore.
Mm.
Even though I haven't changed much in terms of like showing testimonials or like client success, it's just like all about the frame that you hold and the standard that you set from the jump, even in the setting process as well.
That's incredible. So how does somebody who maybe is like a people pleaser and trying to make friends and stuff like that make that transition? Because I know when I was first getting into sales and coaching, I was the exact same way, trying to make a friend in the sales call, trying to be liked, and then I wondered why nobody was buying from me. And after 17 calls of people telling me no, I was like, what's going on? And then someone watched one of my sales calls and was like, "Oh, you're coaching on the call and you're trying to make a buddy." And
Mhm.
so now they have clarity and they're not like they don't need to pay for it. So how does somebody who is kind of like naturally by default acting that way, how does somebody like that transition and act by design intentionally to really just set that standard, hold the frame, and maybe even feel like they're like suppressing a part of themselves?
Mm. So I would say there are a couple of things that go into that 100%. Number one, I never would ever say like you have to be disingenuous to who you are and your unique specific person because that's what people really are investing in is you and what you're like your personality and what you're able to do for each and individual client that nobody else can do. And so it's never beneficial, and people can see through it when you're trying to put on this macho, type of "I'm the leader, I'm the authority here." Like people can see right through that, and they don't buy into that at all. It's coming to a place within you that says, "Okay, I have to kind of put in the reps. I've got to train myself. Either I gotta, start reading my sales script differently. I have to design a sales script that fosters that type of behavior and that type of authority, and repeating that and making sure that I'm sticking to this specific way of doing things. Um, but I would say it's just like imagine if like your daughter or your spouse or your mom or your closest friend was dealing with an issue, like a really big issue, like an addiction or something that was really just like bringing them down in life, and like you have to come within yourself and say, "Am I really a good friend, or am I loving them properly? If I just let them continue being an alcoholic, if I continue letting them blow through money and run up their credit cards and like stop not show up to work or not be a dad to their child or whatever the case is," you would have to have a very serious conversation of like, listen, this is coming out of a place of love. You can't keep acting this way. Like it's not going to be a kiki haha fun conversation, but I would be doing you a disservice if I'm not showing up in a very serious way to address this very serious issue. So it's being able to kind of go from that place of like, if it was me, would I want someone let continue letting me be an alcoholic, continue letting me not be a good mom to my kids, continue letting me blow money? Like, I would probably hate the person at first, but eventually I'd be like, "You know what? You were right, and thank you for that because I needed that." And so it's going to that place in your
Mm,
mind of like, this person needs this, and this is actually helping. And honestly, we make it a bigger monster in our mind than it actually is. Because I've never had anyone. I mean, I've had a few people that were a little like, okay, I'm done with this now. And I'm like, okay, well, you're not ready for change, and that's not someone I can help anyway. But you usually just you have to learn to dust your feet off and keep moving forward. But I've rarely had anyone be like, you're being too real. I've had mainly people like, I've never thought about before. I've never asked myself that question before. I don't know why
mm.
I'm doing this. And it's like we're really changing people's lives. And in order to do that, like you have to answer that call of you becoming better, you becoming more into that place that you already have. Like it's already in you. It's just a matter of you like fine tuning that and bringing that out. And a great way to do that is, first of all, watching yourself and seeing, oh, yeah, I am a little too friendly here. I am trying to figure out how the weather's going and talk about how we have the same shirt and all that kind of stuff. Like that doesn't really help. But also just learning from the people who do a good job of that, and asking them questions and picking their brain about stuff like that.
Love that. Here's a good one for you. How has your faith impacted the way you run your business?
It has been everything. I notice myself having to grow in terms of like not letting money, right, be the thing that drives me, and not also letting being money be the thing that scares me. Because before I started this, I just had a dream of making 10K months. And now I'm like, that is too small for the impact that God has and the calling that God has put on my life, and the impact that He is calling me to make. So it has, first of all, I have incredible ethics, right? I don't let if someone I put the needs of the person first over whatever fear that may be coming up, right? Because I'm listening to where God is calling me. If He's like, hey, trust me in this, do this for this person, it allows me to have so much peace over the process and be able to retreat to that place. And so I make decisions that are logical and not emotional, and not be like, I've only made 3K so far this month. Let me just go and XYZ. And it's like, no, like, okay, I know that God is always providing for me. I know He's always protecting me. He's put me in this place for a reason to make impact. And so, what is He trying to teach me in this moment? Is He trying to tell me, hey, you need to turn off this ad? Is He trying to tell me, hey, you need to lean a little bit more into delivery and coaching in this season? Hey, there's something in this process that's been broken. Like it's just so much wisdom. It's so much peace and like being even keel.
Mm,
Um, but it's also just a lot of like North Star moments of like, it doesn't matter how things look, it matters where we're going, and it matters in that direction and that path that we are headed. And like, I always have this like visual of like, this is your current self, this is where you're being called, which is higher, and your current version of yourself cannot withstand that. So there's all these things that you're gonna have to go through, which is trials in your business, learning why, ads aren't working, or people are doing this, or you got to charge back, or whatever the case is, or you're not that great at sales. It's learning how to navigate all of those things, which are amazing life lessons as well, that just help you to show up better as a wife, as a mom, as a friend, as all these things that I'm gonna continue to be in the future and become. And it's helped me to really put myself in check, because I do know a lot of people that make all the money but are unhappy and hate their lives, hate what they're doing in business, are super burnt out. So I'm able to enjoy what I'm doing in the present moment and be content in that, while also still having a goal of being called higher, because the better that I get in my business, the more money that I make means I can impact more people. I can now spread my story more. I can now give hope and encourage more people in what I do. And I can make sure that I can die empty, which means there's no dream that I have that I didn't fulfill. There's no person that I was supposed to impact and talk to that I didn't answer that call for. And there's no regrets on the deathbed, because I'm taking the risks now, and I have the peace while doing all of that. So it's been 100% so incredible, and such a guiding light. And I've been able to do everything with so much peace and confidence and integrity.
that's amazing. I really like what you said there about how it's kind of like completely reshifted your vision
Mm,
because you feel now that you're being called to a much higher purpose, right? And I think a lot of people start with that exact kind of mindset. I know I did, where it's like, oh, if I can just get to X amount per month, that's all that matters. I'm good to go. But then once you get there or even past there, then you start to realize that like, oh, it's not really about that at all. And especially if you have something really life changing and incredible that makes a massive impact, then you're doing yourself, God, and everybody else a disservice by limiting yourself and putting a ceiling on your growth. So I really, really admire that. And yeah, just a phenomenal answer. Um, and with that too, like rewinding a few months ago when you were at 3K a month, making a massive leap and a massive investment into yourself, like what was going on in your mind in that moment and kind of during that season that kind of led you to just kind of ripping the band-aid off and going for it? Was that your faith? Was that your like confidence in yourself? Was it a mix of both? What was it?
No confidence in myself, which is the problem. It's like I know I do not know or have what it takes at this specific level to make the transformation into what I'm wanting and the dream that I have and the vision that I have for where I want to go. And I know that there are people who have done that. And I am not somebody who likes to waste time. Like I don't want to save thousands of dollars so I can spend 20 years trying to figure it out. Like I am learning from all the people. Like that's the only time machine that we get is learning from people ahead's mistakes. Like I get to learn everything that you had not the luxury, but of having to make those mistakes of. I have the luxury of learning from that and not having to make that same mistake from all the amazing coaches that you do have in the program, of all the people around. Like I've had some one-on-one calls with people in the program, and like that was literally one of the turning points. I was like, she was like, "Why don't you just go back to what was working?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like wow, you're right. That makes a lot of sense." Um, and so I there's a certain peace that you get when you know that God is telling you to do something bigger than you and that you know you can't do on your own. Um, that you have to, it just requires more faith. It just requires a building block of your faith. And so when I was at that point, I was like, listen, I know that I've juiced all the juice out of the orange. Like I need a new orange. And so like God either show me what to do or where to go. And like I never make any decisions or do anything, move forward in anything if I don't feel peace in it. Because I already know how it's gonna end up. I already know it's gonna end up really poorly. I'm gonna have anxiety through the whole thing. I'm not gonna feel peace. I'm gonna know I made a wrong decision. It's gonna be guilt. It's gonna be all these things I have to undo and fix. And I just don't want that. I am a person who learns. I don't need to jump off the cliff to know that's gonna kill me. I can see that the last person did that, and I don't want that as well. So it was it's a relationship that I have built with God that has allowed me to trust when He says, "Hey, pick up and move to Dallas in 30 days," or invest thousands of dollars in the coaching program, because I know that on the other side of that yes is something that I've been asking for and something that I may not have even dreamed up. So that is the thing that had motivated me, was just like seeing that people were already there, knowing that they have the tools to help get me there as well, and then also just like peace and alignment with God in that move.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love what you said there about like everything you want is on the other side of that really kind of like scary decision. And it's usually the things that we're afraid of doing the most is exactly what we need to do. And I know myself, like just having that faith and that confidence to know, like, hey, this might suck and it might like terrify me right now, but I know on the other side, once I get through it, it's going to be well worth it and it's going to unlock that next level for me. So that's uh that's really cool.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, is there anything else that that you feel like somebody who is kind of going through it right now, maybe they've been stuck for a while and they're kind of losing confidence, they're kind of questioning things a little bit. Is there any advice that you would give that person? And maybe it's just slightly younger you.
Oh my gosh. Slightly younger me is I would just girl, like there is so many things that are going to be required of you that are uncomfortable and require more than you've ever done before, but that is exactly what is going to take you out of a place of where you are. There are the Bible says, anxiety in the heart of man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad. It talks about how we should confess our sins to our brother because so that we may be healed, because the prayers of a righteous man avails much. Like community is going to be everything. And the type of people that you surround yourself with is going to be the type of people that you become. So as fast as possible as you can, you want to like completely submerge yourself and surround yourself with winners, with people who love people well, show up for themselves well, are disciplined, are honestly slightly, if not significantly better than you because it forces you to raise to that standard or get burned, which we never do if we are on that path of growth. So as much as you can, like, pay to play, okay, that's what it costs, like, pay to get into those rooms, pay to get into those mentorships, pay to be where the people who you wanna be like are, because the faster that you can get there, the more you can absorb, the more you can learn, and the faster you can make that transformation. I kind of say there's, like, this gap of, like, what you know you need to do and, like, what God is calling you to do, and then like the end result. And there's all of this struggle in between of like, oh, can I do it? Am I good enough? Is God gonna come through? All these types of things. And then there's like 40 years go by, right? And it's like if we had just answered the call 40 years ago, we would have gotten a thing. And so I try and shorten that timeline as much as possible of
Mhm.
just whatever God calls you to do it as fast as you can so that you can learn the lesson faster, get the abundance, prosperity, the blessing faster, learn the things, meet the people, and just your quality of life improves so much when you take a risk that God is calling you to take, like, and just do the big scary things. Like, just do the things. Invest in yourself, find the mentor, do the things, and just never let fear be a reason why you don't grow.
Wow.
Mm.
Incredible. That's powerful there.
Mhm.
So last question. What's next for you? Obviously the vision's shifted a little bit. What are you aiming for next? And what do you think the kind of the next steps are for you?
The next steps are figuring out what is required of me. Like, I think you probably have already seen too, like, whenever I know something's coming, like, I always ask, hey, what do I need to be doing now to make sure that when I have to get a closer or a CSM, that I'm prepared for that? And so it's always just like, okay, well, what did you have to do to get from 20 to 50K? Like, what is required? Do I need to be pumping more into ads? Do I need to be whatever the case is? So it's always just learning like what I need to do or prepare or refine to get from here to there. My next goal obviously is 100K consistently. And I want to blow this up. Like, I don't want it to be like coaching, just coaching offer forever. Like, I really want to make this like really a global impact. Like, we have a mission department where we get to send money to the less fortunate and even have our team or people in our program like send them on mission trips and being able to impact other people and build them up to be leaders so that they can go out. I what I say is the Bible says the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. I feel like my job is to prepare the laborers as much as possible as leaders so that they can go out and harvest. And so it's really just continuing to try and make as much impact as possible in as many ways as we can wherever God is calling, and just continue to stretch myself and see what is required of me to actually get to these big goals, 100K, 500K, a mill a month type of things. But my next goal is 100K. I'm not stopping until we get there.
And I have no doubt that you will.
Amen.
Amen. Well, Bria, thank you so much for coming on. It's been such an incredible conversation, as always, because you're just such an incredible person.
Oh,
And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to hop on here with me and hopefully, yeah, share some inspiration with the world and the people watching. And I just want to say it's been such a absolute pleasure to work with you and kind of just see your growth and your progress so far. So I just want to say congratulations. It's really cool to see.
thank you. Thank you so much. You've been an integral piece to this growth and this transformation. So, if anyone's out there and you have any doubts, if you don't press that pay link right now, like you're doing yourself a disservice, go ahead and invest and enroll. Thank you so much. You've been everything that has gotten me to this point. So, thank you.
Wow. Very, very honored. Thank you so much. So Yeah, that's it. If you're watching this and you want to be next, calendar links down below. Book in, let's chat and see if we can help you to scale. So again, with that, Brea, thank you so much for coming back on or coming on. And I can't wait to have you back on at
Yes.
100K a month. So
Yes, sir. I'll see you then.
see you then.
Thank you so much.